And joining us now with more on Christmas celebrations and the Christian community in Israel and the Middle East is Rabbi Leo Dee, Israeli Special Envoy for Social Initiatives. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Lidar. Nice to be here.
So you're joining us tonight on Christmas Eve, and we've just heard the population of Christians in Israel is growing. This, of course, is welcome news. And so as Israel's Special Envoy, what message do you have for Christians in Israel and those that are watching around the world today?
Just to say that we are delighted with the mix of religions in Israel, not just the Christians, the Muslim Israelis, Christian Israelis, and in fact, Israelis of many other religions as well. This is a diverse culture here, and the Christians make a very critical component of what is a really dynamic society.
And what does Christmas look like in Israel this year? Usually there are millions of tourists this time of year in Jerusalem, in Nazareth, and other places. This year, because of the war, looks a bit different.
Yes, Lidar, it's sad walking down the Mamilla Mall, which is the shopping mall that leads up to the Jaffa Gate, which leads towards the Western Wall. Normally this time of year it would be packed full of Christian tourists from all over the world, many from Asia, Africa, certainly of course from Europe and America, and hardly any this year. And it's very empty on that mall at the moment because of the war that was started by an attack on the 7th of October by Hamas terrorists. And also on my route home from Jerusalem to Efrat, where I live, there are usually a lot of Christmas lights because it's also the road towards Bethlehem. And those lights appear to be absent or very muted this year as well. So it's a shame, and I think everybody's missing the excitement of Christmas here in Jerusalem.
And circling back to this report, you've been speaking out about the persecution Christians are facing in the Middle East. And in nearly every country in this region, they are facing persecution. And so today on Christmas Eve, I want to ask you, why isn't there more global outrage regarding this persecution?
Lida, you're quite right. There's a charity called Open Doors, which your viewers can look up online, which outlines the persecution of Christians in Arab and Muslim countries around the world. And it's really a terrible situation. 360 million Christians are persecuted in those countries, about 15% of the world's Christian population. Almost 6,000 were murdered in those countries in 2022 alone. 2,000 churches were attacked in those countries in 2022. And it's not something we hear on the news at all. It's not trendy. I think that this war that's taking place, where 20,000 people have been killed in Gaza, is taking the front page, and the I say 360 million Christians are being ignored and their plight.
And I want to discuss for a moment Christmas in Bethlehem, the birthplace of Jesus. Christmas was canceled this year due to the war. Usually there are massive annual celebrations, but the Christian community under the Palestinian Authority has diminished. I want to maybe end also on a positive note of how Christians are able to celebrate Christmas here in Israel despite the situation.
Yeah, Christians are celebrating in a very muted sense this year, and more of a home celebration, small groups going to church. But what we're lacking in Bethlehem, of course, are the really hundreds of thousands of tourists that normally would be there. The shops would be packed, and the streets would be packed, and the churches would be packed. And unfortunately, we've been there before. The Palestinian Authority took over in the 1990s. Bethlehem was 60% Christian at that time. Now it's been packed with Muslim Arabs by the Palestinian Authority, so it's only 20% Christian. And that means that the mayor is Muslim, and the Christians really have very little power. A lot of Christians now, of course, have left the Palestinian Authority, the Palestinian territories, and Gaza. The populations there have dropped dramatically over the last 20, 30 years under Hamas and the PA. So unfortunately, we have a game of two halves. We've got the Christian situation in the Palestinian Authority and in Gaza, where the numbers are dropping and there's been terrible persecution. And then you've got the growing population in Israel, where the tremendous amount of freedom that Christians have and Jews and Muslims have in Israel is a tremendous draw for Christians all over.
Absolutely. All right, Rabbi Leo Dee, thank you so much for speaking with us today.
Thank you, Lida.
And Merry Christmas to our viewers.